It's a feeling many know all too well, a silent, unsettling alarm that pulls you from the depths of sleep precisely when the world is at its quietest. The clock glows 3 a.m., maybe 3:15 or 3:30. You're wide awake, staring into the oppressive darkness, a stark contrast to the slumber you desperately crave. A prickle of frustration, perhaps even a hint of worry, creeps in. Is something wrong with you? Is this just an inevitable, disheartening part of getting older, destined to steal your precious rest night after night? What if you knew that this isn't a random occurrence, nor a personal failing, but a profound, often misunderstood message from your body and mind? What if understanding these early morning awakenings could not only transform your sleep, but unlock a deeper, more compassionate understanding of yourself in this unique stage of life? Don't let another silent hour pass in confusion. The truth behind these mysterious 3 or so a.m. wake-ups is far more common, more intricate, and ultimately more empowering than you've ever imagined. A crucial insight awaits, one that could redefine your nights and bring a new sense of peace and control to your mornings. The fading twilight hormone. Understanding melatonin's role. One of the most profound and often overlooked reasons why many older adults find themselves staring at the ceiling in the quiet pre-dawn hours, frequently around 3 a.m., is the entirely natural yet often unwelcome decline in melatonin production that comes with the passage of time. Melatonin, often affectionately dubbed the sleep hormone, is much more than just a sedative. It's the master regulator of your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, orchestrating the intricate dance between wakefulness and rest. When you were younger, your body was likely a robust melatonin factory, churning out a steady, generous supply each evening. This abundant flow acted like a gentle, unwavering hand, guiding you into deep, restorative sleep and holding you there for hours, uninterrupted. However, as the years accumulate, this natural production begins to wane, much like a dimmer switch slowly being turned down. This subtle but significant shift can have a profound impact on the architecture of your sleep. You might still find it relatively easy to drift off to sleep in the evening, especially after a busy day or a relaxing meal. But as the night progresses and those critical early morning hours, 2 bars, 3 source, or 4 a.m. arrive, that naturally dwindling melatonin supply simply isn't robust enough to keep you in the deep, undisturbed slumber you once enjoyed. Your brain, sensing the subtle chemical shift, gently but persistently begins to nudge you back toward wakefulness, not because of a dream or a sound, but because its internal sleep signal is weakening. This isn't a flaw in your body. It's merely a graceful, natural evolution of your internal chemistry. To complicate matters, your bedroom environment becomes an even more critical player as you age. Even the most minuscule flickers of light, the glow from a street lamp filtering through the blinds, the tiny digital numbers on a clock radio, or a sliver of light beneath the bathroom door, can further suppress the already diminished melatonin production. Your aging body, becoming more exquisitely sensitive to these external cues, interprets them as signals of impending daylight, making that 3 a.m. wake-up not just frustrating, but often seemingly illogical and insurmountable. Consider Harold, a man of 72, who always prided himself on being a champion sleeper. For decades, he'd fall asleep effortlessly and wake refreshed with the sun. But in recent years, a new, unwelcome ritual began, awakening around 3:15 a.m. most nights, not feeling anxious or distressed, but simply alert, fully awake, as if it were already morning. He'd lie there, bewildered, wondering what cosmic joke was being played on his once reliable body. The discovery that this wasn't a personal failing but a common, natural part of aging, intrinsically linked to his body's changing melatonin levels, was a profound relief. He stopped blaming himself, shifting his perspective from frustration to understanding. Armed with this knowledge, Harold began making intentional adjustments, ensuring his bedroom was a sanctuary of absolute darkness, religiously avoiding screens for at least an hour before bed, and incorporating a gentle evening walk, which helps reinforce his body's natural circadian rhythm. While he still occasionally wakes early, the overwhelming sense of dread has vanished. He's learned to cooperate with his body's evolving rhythm rather than fighting against it, transforming a source of nightly vexation into an opportunity for conscious self-care. This shift in perspective is a true game changer, turning nightly struggle into a path of empowerment, allowing you to support your sleep rather than resenting its changes. The body's new clock, embracing your advanced sleep rhythm. Another profound, yet frequently misunderstood reason behind those early morning awakenings for older adults is a fascinating and entirely natural phenomenon known as advanced sleep phase. As the body gracefully ages, its inherent circadian rhythms, that masterful internal clock dictating your daily cycles of wakefulness and sleepiness, subtly but inexorably begins to shift forward. What this means in practical terms is that you might find yourself feeling drowsy much earlier in the evening than you ever did before, and consequently waking up much earlier in the morning, often even before your alarm or the sun has had a chance to signal the start of a new day. You might suddenly find yourself nodding off during your favorite late-night program or stirring awake at dawn, despite wishing for a few more hours of precious slumber. This isn't a mere habit you've accidentally cultivated. It's a deep-seated biological adjustment, a fundamental recalibration that can become more pronounced with each passing year. In your younger days, your body's rhythm was likely attuned to later bedtimes and a wake-up schedule that felt perfectly aligned with the world around you. However, as this rhythm gradually advances, your entire sleep window naturally slides forward. You might find yourself effortlessly falling asleep by 9 p.m. or even earlier without consciously intending to. While this sounds idyllic, it means your body has completed its full cycle of rest well before the conventional morning hours. By the time 3 a.m. rolls around, your system genuinely feels as though its rest is complete, leading you to wake up feeling remarkably alert, even if the world outside is still cloaked in pitch darkness. It's as if your internal clock has been gently, imperceptibly reset over the decades, ticking forward just a little bit with each passing season. Beyond the purely biological, there's a quiet psychological and social layer to this shift. Many older adults find their lives becoming significantly quieter. Households may have fewer inhabitants, social calendars might be less packed, and the constant hum of external activity that once filled the day begins to diminish. This newfound peacefulness, while often cherished, can amplify the body's innate signals to wind down earlier. Without the constant barrage of noise, social interaction, or work-related demands that once delayed bedtime, your physiological system can initiate its nightly shutdown process much sooner. Furthermore, if you're no longer bound by a strict daily routine, no commutes, no demanding meetings, no bustling social gatherings, the absence of these powerful external time cues allows your internal clock to drift and settle into its advanced phase with even greater ease, often catching you by surprise. Consider Charles, a vibrant 68-year-old who has recently embraced retirement. His evenings have become wonderfully relaxed. He enjoys dinner around 5:30 p.m., watches an hour or so of television, and without fail finds himself comfortably asleep by 9 p.m. Yet, to his initial dismay, he consistently wakes up around 3 a.m., feeling completely refreshed and alert, not anxious. Initially, he attributed it to insomnia, a frustrating new companion in his golden years. But when he learned about the advanced sleep phase, a profound sense of recognition washed over him. His sleep wasn't broken, it was simply operating on a new schedule. Empowered by this insight, Charles began to gently nudge his evening routine. He added small, intentional activities to stretch his wake window just a little longer, reading a captivating book under a warm, soft light, taking a leisurely stroll after dinner, and making it a point to call his daughter for a cheerful chat before settling down. These subtle social and sensory cues served as gentle signals to his body, effectively pushing his sleep window a bit later. The gratifying result? Far fewer 3 a.m. awakenings and a newfound harmony with his body's natural rhythm, transforming his nights from frustration to a deeper sense of well-being. This understanding is a gift, replacing guilt and confusion with a compassionate framework for working with your body rather than endlessly fighting against its natural inclinations. Unseen nudges, when physical discomfort awakens you. Another significant and deeply human reason why older adults often find themselves unexpectedly awake at 3 a.m. stems from the body's inherent, often subtle responses to physical discomfort or underlying health challenges. As we accumulate years, the likelihood of managing chronic conditions or experiencing minor yet persistent health issues naturally increases. What's particularly tricky is that many of these conditions don't announce themselves with blaring alarms during the day. Instead, they often surface with quiet insistence in the profound stillness of the night. These interruptions aren't necessarily painful or dramatic, but they're often just enough to pull you from a deep, restorative sleep into a state of light wakefulness, leaving you perplexed and often unable to quickly drift back off. Conditions like arthritis, for example, can make maintaining a single sleeping position for hours on end increasingly uncomfortable. While you might fall asleep easily, the quiet hours allow stiffness and aches to gradually build up, eventually nudging you awake as your body subtly protests. For others, the unwelcome burning sensation of nighttime acid reflux can be the culprit, particularly if dinner was eaten late or if they reclined too soon afterward. Even seemingly minor physical sensations, a dry mouth that becomes unbearable, a sudden muscle cramp, or even a slight, unnoticed dip or rise in room temperature can trigger an awakening in the early morning. At this vulnerable time, your body's defenses and tolerance levels are often less forgiving than they once were, making you more susceptible to these subtle disturbances. One of the most frequently cited physical reasons for older adults, particularly men, to wake around 3 a.m. is the undeniable urge to urinate, a condition medically known as nocturia. With age, the bladder's elasticity naturally decreases, and its capacity to hold urine diminishes, leading to more frequent and urgent trips to the bathroom. During the day, the myriad distractions of life can often keep this sensation at bay, allowing your mind to be occupied elsewhere. But in the utter silence and darkness of 3 a.m., that internal signal becomes impossible to ignore. And once you've risen, walked to the bathroom, and then returned to bed, your body has often already transitioned from a state of deep rest to light alertness, making the return to profound sleep a frustrating challenge. Furthermore, the very medications that are crucial for managing various health conditions in older age can inadvertently contribute to these nocturnal awakenings. Many older adults take multiple prescriptions for blood pressure, heart health, pain management, or other chronic issues. These medications can carry side effects such as increased urination, subtle alterations in body temperature, or heightened sensitivity to light or noise, all of which can quietly yet powerfully disrupt sleep patterns. The connection between a medication and a 3 a.m. wake-up might not be immediately obvious, often only becoming clear after careful tracking or discussion with a healthcare professional. Consider Eleanor, a spirited 76-year-old who, while always a light sleeper, noticed a concerning pattern emerging over the last year, consistent awakenings around 3:30 a.m. For months, she dismissed it as just aging, feeling helpless. It wasn't until she discussed her sleep disruptions with her doctor that a vital piece of the puzzle emerged. One of her daily medications was subtly impacting her hydration levels, significantly increasing her nighttime bathroom visits. With her doctor's expert guidance, she adjusted the timing of her dosage and incorporated a few simple lifestyle changes, like moderating fluid intake in the late evening. The result? Fewer and less urgent nightly trips, and when she did wake, returning to sleep became much easier. This experience underscores a crucial point. These physical awakenings are not signs of your body failing. On the contrary, they are often intelligent signals, alerts from your body that it's still actively responding, adjusting, and trying to communicate its needs. Far from being an inconvenience, a 3 a.m. wake-up can be a quiet, powerful nudge to tune in, assess, and make small, informed changes that lead to improved health and more profound, restorative rest. The quiet. Reshaping how daily habits influence your night beyond biology and overt health challenges, a surprisingly potent yet frequently overlooked contributor to those recurring 3 a.m. awakenings in older adults lies in the quiet accumulation of long-standing daily habits. These aren't grand, dramatic changes, but rather subtle shifts in routine and lifestyle choices that, over time, gently but profoundly reshape your body's internal sleep rhythm. Many older adults, particularly after retirement, naturally begin to eat dinner earlier, wind down sooner in the evening, and engage in less intense physical activity throughout the day. While seemingly minor, these adjustments collectively act as powerful signals to your body, instructing it that the night should commence earlier, inevitably pushing your natural wake-up time earlier as well. When your days lose their former structure, the demands of commuting, the endless errands, the mentally or physically stimulating tasks that once filled your hours, your body no longer receives the same external cues it once relied upon. Without the clear delineators of a busy schedule, the body's intrinsic sleep-wake cycle can begin to drift. A calm, dimly lit evening spent relaxing with minimal stimulation, for instance, can prompt your brain to release melatonin much earlier than before, inviting sleep before you even realize the clock has truly struck your accustomed bedtime. And once you're falling asleep earlier, it's a simple logical progression that your body will complete its necessary rest cycle earlier, leading to those wake-ups in the pre-dawn hours, often precisely around 3 a.m. There's also a subtle yet significant interplay between the timing of your meals and the quality of your sleep. While eating dinner early is often lauded as a healthy practice, it can sometimes lead to a dip in blood sugar levels overnight, especially if no light snack is consumed before bed. This dip might not manifest as overt hunger, but it can be just enough to rouse the body from a deep sleep. Similarly, the lingering effects of caffeine, even if consumed early in the afternoon, can become more pronounced as metabolism naturally slows with age. This subtle stimulation can lighten your sleep, making you more prone to waking at any slight disturbance. Even that seemingly innocuous power nap in the late afternoon can inadvertently steal precious sleep pressure from your night, leading to fragmented rest and an earlier awakening. Consider Walter, a 74-year-old who recently retired from a demanding career. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, his days became less structured and his evenings grew more relaxed. He found himself having supper by 5 p.m., often dozing off in his favorite recliner during the evening news, and heading to bed well before 9 p.m. most nights. Unbeknownst to him, his entire routine had subtly shifted a full 2 or 3 hours earlier. It wasn't long before he began waking consistently around 3 a.m., utterly bewildered as to why he was wide awake long before the birds even began their morning chorus. After a period of honest reflection on his new routine, Walter recognized the patterns. He began making small yet powerful adjustments, incorporating a short, brisk walk in the late afternoon, ensuring he read under brighter lights during the early evening to signal wakefulness, and consciously avoiding those post-dinner naps. These seemingly minor changes helped gently nudge his natural sleep window just a bit later, allowing his body to settle into a rhythm that more closely aligned with his desired wake-up time. What's truly remarkable is how often we underestimate the profound power of routine. Our bodies thrive on rhythm, on predictable daily patterns that act as clear signals, telling the brain when it's time to rest and when it's time to rise. When these signals weaken or shift, the internal body clock can lose its precise bearings, leading to earlier and more fragmented sleep. But by simply noticing these patterns and making thoughtful, gentle adjustments, it's entirely possible to guide the body back to a sleep cycle that feels deeply restorative and far less disrupted. The mind's midnight musings, emotional echoes in the quiet hours. Sometimes the enigma of waking up at 3 a.m. has less to do with the physiological rhythms of the body and everything to do with the intricate, often unspoken workings of the mind and heart. As we journey through life's later chapters, the emotional layers that were once skillfully buried beneath the ceaseless demands and distractions of daily life can begin to gently, yet persistently, surface in the profound quietude of the night. These early morning hours, when the world outside is utterly still and the usual distractions are mercifully absent, often become an unexpected stage where unspoken worries, lingering regrets, unresolved thoughts, or even subtle longings begin to stir. You might find yourself lying awake, not because of a loud noise or a physical ache, but because your mind is quietly, almost instinctively, sorting through a mosaic of memories, contemplating past decisions, grappling with losses endured, or wrestling with words that were left unsaid. This particular brand of restlessness is distinct from the acute, often overwhelming anxiety that might have gripped you in your younger years. It's often much quieter, more reflective, a soft, persistent hum in the background, a subtle sense that something remains unsettled, even if you can't quite articulate its source. When the mind is freed from the active engagement of the day, it often drifts backward, revisiting old relationships, replaying significant moments, or pondering the trajectory of a life well lived. And because the body is no longer rushing from one responsibility to another, there is ample unhurried space for these thoughts and emotions to echo a little louder, to demand a little more attention. It's also crucial to acknowledge the quiet, pervasive role that loneliness can play in these nocturnal awakenings. For many older adults, social circles naturally begin to contract over time. Children may move far away, cherished friends might become busy with their own lives, and once vibrant routines can slowly change. While the daylight hours might still be filled with moments of connection and activity, the nighttime often brings with it a profound quiet, and with that quiet, an acute awareness of any emotional or social gaps. This form of loneliness doesn't always present as a heavy, crushing sadness. Sometimes it manifests simply as a deep-seated desire for connection, a faint ache for someone to talk to share the silence with, when the house is utterly still and the world outside sleeps. Consider Gloria, an elegant 80-year-old widow. During the day, she diligently keeps herself busy, tending her beloved garden, engaging in lively video calls with her grandchildren, and immersing herself in her favorite television shows. Yet consistently, around 3 a.m., she would find herself wide awake, her thoughts inevitably drifting back to cherished moments shared with her late husband, or to subtle worries she instinctively kept tucked away during the brighter daylight hours. Initially, she believed there was a fundamental flaw with her sleep itself, but over time, with gentle introspection, she began to understand that her early awakenings weren't truly about sleep at all. They were, in a profound sense, her heart asking to be acknowledged, to be heard. To offer herself support and solace, Gloria began a simple yet transformative practice. She started keeping a small, unassuming journal by her bedside. When she awoke in the early hours, she would sometimes jot down whatever thoughts, feelings, or memories were swirling in her mind. Nothing elaborate, just a few honest reflections. She also cultivated a quiet evening ritual, listening to soft, calming music, or writing a short, heartfelt note to a friend or family member before bed. These small acts of reflection and gentle connection provided her emotions with a peaceful outlet, subtly easing her mind and helping her return to sleep with a greater sense of tranquility. The truth is, the human heart and mind do not adhere to a rigid schedule. They remember what they need to remember, they ask the questions that yearn for answers, and sometimes they choose to do all of this precisely at 3 a.m. when the rest of the world is hushed. But this isn't a defect. It is, in fact, a testament to your profound depth and the richness of your lived experience. If you find yourself waking in these quiet hours feeling reflective, it might signify that you are carrying a quiet wisdom, ready to be recognized and integrated. You have navigated joys and sorrows, endured heartbreaks and celebrated triumphs, and these experiences have shaped not only your memories, but the very essence of your being. Rather than perceiving these awakenings as something to fix, try approaching them with an open heart, gentle curiosity, and profound kindness. What is your mind subtly trying to communicate? What unspoken truth needs to find its voice? What part of you is seeking a moment of grace, even in the deepest dark? Sometimes the most meaningful form of rest doesn't come from ignoring these moments, but from honoring them. In doing so, you may discover not only improved sleep, but a richer, more profound understanding of yourself in this beautiful and evolving stage of life. Finding your rhythm, a path to deeper rest and understanding. As we draw this journey of discovery to a close, take a quiet, introspective moment to absorb what you've encountered. Which of these profound insights resonated most deeply with your own experience? Was it the subtle recalibration of your internal clock, the quiet evolution of your hormones, the body's gentle nudges stemming from physical discomfort, the unseen influence of your daily habits, or perhaps something even more profound, an emotional current that only surfaces when the world around you finally stills? Each of these 5 powerful reasons offers a unique and compassionate lens through which to understand your early morning awakenings. Crucially, none of them point to something being inherently wrong or broken within you. In fact, they each beautifully illuminate how deeply and intricately your body and mind are still functioning, still responding, and still gracefully adapting as you navigate this rich and evolving stage of life. There resides a quiet, empowering strength in truly understanding what your body is attempting to communicate, especially during those soft, vulnerable hours before the dawn. Rather than viewing those 3 a.m. wake-ups as a persistent nuisance or a frustrating disruption, you might begin to perceive them as profound messages, gentle yet insistent, signals reminding you to listen a little more closely to your intrinsic needs, to reflect on your established habits, and most tenderly, to attune yourself to the quiet whispers of your own heart. You are undeniably not alone in this shared human experience, and you are certainly not the only one seeking answers to these perplexing nocturnal occurrences. But with insight comes genuine strength, and with that strength comes the profound freedom to implement small yet immensely meaningful changes that foster better rest, cultivate deeper comfort, and forge a stronger, more authentic connection to your body's unique and evolving rhythms. If you have recognized echoes of your own experience in any of these reasons today, know this: you are not merely aging, you are beautifully evolving. And with that evolution comes an extraordinary opportunity, a chance to approach rest more intentionally, to care for yourself with even greater gentleness, and to greet each new morning with an enriched sense of understanding, profound compassion, and unwavering peace. We deeply value your journey and your insights. Please share your reflections and learnings below. Your thoughts inspire and uplift us all. If this exploration has resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone else who might benefit, and we look forward to continuing this conversation in our next insightful discussion.